This video is proudly sponsored by DigimonCard.io for all your Digimon card, deck building, deck list, card pricing, and discussion needs. Hey, real quick, next Wednesday, February 22nd, I'm hosting a free Digimon webcam tournament for BT11 and kind of like a nationals testing tournament. So we do have a couple spots left open, so that will be in the link in the description if you guys want to sign up for it. If you have any questions, let me know, but it should be really fun, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and we do have the Digimon North American National event in about a week from now, and I will be going to the event, but I won't be playing in it since I'll be doing the commentary for it. So in lieu of me not being able to play, I do want to kind of go over 4 different deck lists that I have been testing for the BT11 meta that I want just to share with you guys, give you some ideas, and maybe just help with your testing in one way or another. So I wouldn't say any of these lists are nationals ready in any regard, just because they are a little bit basic for what they are, but I haven't needed to test super heavy for this since I knew I wasn't going to play. But in the sense of, I think these 4 lists will be, or at least these 4 archetypes will be at the event. I think you guys should kind of be aware of what they are, and if you either want to just have a good groundwork for playing this list or any of these lists, I think this is good for that, as well as just a list to do some testing against. I think all 4 of these are good for that as well. So we're just going to go over it, and we're going to start off with Ulforce, and we're starting with this one just because originally I said that this list was not super great, or at least I said so in my tier list that I made about a week ago. I didn't think it was going to be very strong. I didn't think it was going to get a top 32 finish, and I think this list was probably, or at least this archetype was one that you guys in the comments said that I was probably being a little bit too harsh for. So I decided to go back to it, do some more testing, do some more decks, and I think I was probably a little bit wrong. I'd be still a little bit surprised if it got top 32, and I think that Melga just has a better matchup against Black War Greymon, even if it's a losing one. But I could see someone taking this list, or a list like this one, and having the chance for top 32. So we'll see if that's right or not, but let's kind of go over my kind of re-educated thoughts on this archetype in general. So just the idea that you do kind of go up into your big stack, your big Ulforce, and you do get a lot of reduction for memory cost reduction for it by playing Tamers and by having the inheritables, at least the good ones. Kind of been put on to the Starter Deck 8 Aero Featuremon as well, being able to get jamming on the swing, which is kind of nice, but also the inheritable get security attack +1 is very strong for a card that is able to suspend itself, especially more than once a turn. It doesn't have a lot of inherent protection outside of that, though, so you do have to be careful. There are some ways to kind of boost the DPs for it, and I mean, 12k is pretty strong for what it is, too, so you're not having to be super duper worried. This is tied with having 8 or more cards in your hand, though, so you do have to be careful you do have enough cards in hand. Unlike Melga, it is a little bit tricky to get up there in the hand size, especially since to unsuspend this, you pretty much have to discard a card every time because you have to play a Tamer. Most of the time you want it to be the new Rena, which doesn't get you card draws, but it does let you kind of loop it into another Tamer, which is quite nice. We do run the Davis and Tai V-Tamers, though. These do let you draw cards, which is quite nice. Jerry does not. It lets you go even more minus, but I do like the kind of Leomon effect that it does. Just being able to play Leomon for free is really, really nice, and it does help you not only defensive side. Jerry does let you draw cards if your opponent attacks, and this kind of just prevents your opponent from doing a lot of board clears too, just because it means like this gaining your memory when it gets when it dies is really strong. So I think it's strong there in a lot of ways. So this is a solid list. I do think it does suffer some issues against Black War Greymon, though, if they are able to set up. And you do have to kind of run a lot of Tamers for what you're doing too, which can be a little bit bricky, though some of them do search for them. And I did kind of go over, I want to go over some of these side deck cards, and not really side deck, but just alternative choices. So if you want to boost up some more attack, I think the Goblimon can be good there too. It does have to have 8 or more cards in hand, which can be a little bit tricky, as I said before, but I think that's good. Babydomon, if you want the +1k, you just have to have Drawmon in your name, which all of these pretty much do on the high end. So if you want that extra boost, it can be important, especially since kind of the number to beat is 13k. So be able to Amon to get to 13k and then an extra boost off of either like the V Tamer or from this Goblimon, you can do that. You can also run the 3-drop Arena. I just found like it wasn't as good as either the V Tamer or the Davis. Just the fact that it does you look top 3 for cards and you do get the plus 1k boost. Both of these are good. So if you like putting this card, if you like using this effect, you can. I just didn't immediately think about that. I did try it, and I just kind of took out the 2 copies I was running for a 3rd copy of Davis and a 3rd copy of the V Tamer. Aero Vidramon I really want to run, but I don't think you really can. Jamming's not as important as just kind of getting a bigger kind of DP attack. So, and you really don't have a way to like the Wind Digivolving effect doesn't happen as much unless you're kind of just going for win. So if you want to like tech in a copy or 2 of this, you could, but it's not. It's really tempting, but I don't think it's as good. And then old Vidramon, just another card just to talk about. It does let you swing twice, which is great. You do have to Digivolve for 3, which is less great. And then if you have a Blue Tamer in play and Inheritable, it gets a plus 1k boost. So this could be something to help boost your Ulforce Vidramon in a level 4 slot instead of like the level 3 slot or the Digi Egg. But it is a little expensive for what it is too. It is searchable off your arena if you're playing this card or from your Vmon rookie, but I don't know. So anyways, I think this is a good deck. I think I was a little harsh. And let's see if it gets top 32. If you're playing it, let me know. And if you're confident in your list, sometimes it can just be really bricky, which is unfortunate, especially since you're running your Tamers. And if you're playing your Ulforce turn and you go off, you probably played like 4 Tamers, and they're like, cool, I played a free Death X on the next turn. Thank you very much. So you do have to be aware of that. I think most decks are going to be playing Death X as well, and this is a deck that can be hit from that. Which just kind of stinks. That I don't know, like that the fact that it has just reverse synergy against Black War Greymon X and Death X, which are both just 2 very common decks and cards right now, are just that's the thing that's holding it back. That's why I originally said I don't think it's going to get top 32, and we'll still see if that's right or wrong. But I did think I was a little harsh. Anyways, Black War Greymon X. This is not a very surprising thing that I was considering playing this list, because I'm pretty sure 90% of people playing at Nationals at least once were thinking, why don't I just play this list, right? Why don't I just play Black War Greymon X? Let's just do it. Let's just go for it. And I think like this is, in the very least, this is a very, very good archetype for getting top 32. I think a lot of people are going to get there. And I think winning the event with this deck like this could be kind of tricky, just because everyone knows what they can do, like what the extension of this deck is. But at the same time, just knowing that the deck is good doesn't mean that you know how to beat it either. So I think it is just very overtuned for it just has consistency. This Greymon X antibody is just really great, being able to pretty much reduce the cost of your next evolution by 2. That's pretty much what it says, but it can be reduce it by 1 or more. Additionally, if Cool Boy is on the board, the fact that you get the extra draw is great. The fact that it has protection is inheritable. All of that's very great. You guys probably already have your own opinions on this deck. So nothing super spicy with this. I think this is a really safe build. And if you want to know, if you need like a build to play against, I think this is a really solid one there. 13 rookies, which is a little low, but I think Red Memboost kind of helps you there. You do get some searches of Cool Boy if you need to kind of just need a rookie and maybe find the X antibody Agumon. We do have 3 X antibodies, 2 Yuyas because they're very strong and can help for the protection. Crimson Flare 2, or Hades Force, sorry, that's the localization. We do have Omnimon X, which is great. Gaiomon, and I do really like Black War Greymon just inherently. We're running a 3-2-2 split. Everyone's going to have their own ratios of these and the ones that they swear by. This is the one I like just because I do like the Tamer Destruction, and being able to reset your opponent if they're trying to set up a bunch of Tamers is really cool. Metal Greymon's great. X Antibody's good too. We're only running 1 sweet copy of Greymon X Antibody because I just like this card. And it's a little bit more flexible than Greymon X if you don't have your right setup. And you can get the protection if you don't find the X antibody. So I like running it at 1. You can do some silly things like Digivolving on top of the Greymon, or even the either one of these, and you get just blocker for free, or the +2 for free. And just the fact that, like, in case you don't see more of these, and it's just for 2 instead of for 3, which is like the only, like, is the balancing factor of this guy. So Again, you probably have your own opinions for this deck. I also think BT9 Koromon is just better. I think the plus 1k boost is really, really good for the mirror match, and I think that's more important than the draw, especially since you just draw so much in this deck that you sometimes like are liable of decking out. So card draw is not as much needed for a deck like this. So anyways, I don't have a lot to say about this deck. You probably have your own opinions, as I said before, but it's a good list. There should, I don't know, you shouldn't be chastised for thinking about taking it to the largest event that North America's ever seen, because it's probably one of the best decks, if not the best, going on into it. So next up we have Mastemon, and man, I wish I had the kahunas to be a really, really good Mastemon player. You do have to like be really committed to the list. You have to be really committed to your ratios and knowing exactly what you want with it. But man, when the deck works, you feel really, really good about it. So this is my own deck. The ratios for most Mastemon decks are going to just be very, very different and very player dependent. So these are my choices. You're never going to be satisfied with the Mastemon list. I've always found that out. You're always going to be like, man, I wish I could tech in this. There are scenarios in the tournament where I wish I had a different card, and it's going to be very tough. So someone's going to be able to just commit themselves to Mastemon, crack the code, and find the cards that really work for them. It's not going to be me for several reasons, but I'm going to go over the cards that I chose and why. So Ignitemon great for getting that cost reduction from playing a Digimon, which we do for free off a bunch of things. Flame Hell Scythe off of the Mastemon, off of Fall Down mode if it gets KO'd, and there if you play Mycomon as well, it's all turns as well, so that if you could get a memory off this. I know there's a bit of a cheesy reason to do this, but I do like the fact that this is just a purple-yellow Digimon that not only can you play for free, I like the Aandroidd effect. I like the fact that you can use this effect. Like, you can put it in Raising, and with the introduction of Mirai, you are kind of incentivized to Digivolve in Raising in the first place. Just the fact that you can, like, go into that, and then you can even, like, have, like, a Devimon with, like, a Salmon underneath it, bring it up, go into Lady Dev, use the effect, play the Aandroidd, and just kind of go from there. So I think this card's great. I think it's a little clunky at 4. 3 is probably the sweet spot for me, but we'll kind of just go from there. Level 5s, there's just so many cards you want to run in this slot, and there's just so little room for it. Like, I'm running how many cards am I running? I'm running 12 level 5s, which is not great. It's a really bad ratio in most decks. In this one, it's not, because you can kind of afford to, but man, it feels really bad when you don't see any of your low end with this. So Magna Aandroidd, you want to run more at 1, but you can't really, so running at 1. Same with Chaos Mode. Both of these are great. You want to see them every game, but you just don't have room in your deck for it. Especially since you're trying to use the Mirai combo, you just kind of have to run a bunch of Aandroids and Lady Devs, because they specifically call out that name and not just a level 5 Angel or stuff like that, which kind of stinks in a little bit. But man, when this works, you feel really great. You feel like you have an infinite, like you have like too much memory to do with what you know to do with, and going to Mastemon is pretty good. We're only running 3 because it's pretty searchable in a lot of ways. 2 Fall Down modes because this is just generically a good card to play. Running a 1 Death X because it's purple, it's multicolor, and you kind of want to run it. You can also bring it back to with Calling from Darkness, which is really, really funny and upsetting at the same time. 3 Flame Hell Scythe, if you can find room for a 4th, go for it. We're playing a lot of rookies, but I really, really think you benefit a lot from playing up and Raising, which normally doesn't happen with a deck like this. So I think that's needed in a lot of ways. And then Chaos Segregation, because it's the best removal in the game right now, and still probably will be for a bit. Various cards, Blackwood Grandmon can get around it with Yuya, which really stinks, but besides that, it's very good. Kari and also Mako, just being able to look top 3 and trash the rest is great for what you're doing. And again, like, there's a bunch of alternative cards you could put in a deck like this. I think like high-end stuff, like Creepymon, I think there's a lot of potential for deck out in a build that's really defensive focused. So if you want to do that, I think that's very good there. Or Dinimon, if you want to just be like crazy. I've never made this card work, but man, when it goes off, I've had it played against me, man, and I'm like, man, they just refresh everything. It just feels really stinky for me. Psychomon, if you don't like Gazimon, if you think the cost reduction is a little bit better, and then Zwart Defeat as well, because it works. It has Tamer Destruction, which we know is good right now, and a lot of things kind of, but it's not as like people play around it a little bit more, but maybe not against Mastemon. So anyways, I really do like Mastemon. It's very, very cool when it goes off. And hopefully, I really hope someone figures out the code and they're able to top with it. And that's my hope. So, again, it won't be me. And lastly, we do have Xros Heart. This is like my pet deck, and it's been super duper fun. This is probably the deck I've made the most amount of adjustments, and is probably closer to an actually good list compared to the other 4, unless you just count Black War Greymon inherently being good as long as you run any combination of these cards. But yeah, this is probably my most personalized list of the bunch, and it's been really fun. It's been really fun to play this list. It's been I'd say pretty successful for where we're at. And it's just gone through a lot of iterations. So first I'm like, okay, cool, balls to the wall. All of Cross 7 will go for it. We'll put a bunch of the Shoutmon DX and the G Greymon and everything. And then, wow, crazy, it was clunky and it bricked a lot. Who could have foreseen that? Man, how unlucky was I? So I took it out and I tried the Mervamon because I'm like, man, this actually is a pretty good effect for 8 memory, being able to play 3 bodies, and they have blocker. And if you play any cross 4s or cross 3s, they both essentially let you draw 2, which is really great. Or you get removal with the Rulumon or with Starmons with the sword. All of that's great. And even like this Shoutmon is good because it lets you search cards. So like, it's not too bad. It's a little bit like giving your opponent that much memory is probably bad, but like if it works, it really works, which is really nice. And then like I don't know, but then I was like, man, and then I did miss the removal from Shoutmon Cross 7, which, as clunky as it is, like you really don't miss out on too much. And like if you just want to play this card knowing that you won't get the Z Greymon or the Shoutmon DX, you're probably still fine. Like you're playing it for 4 cards, so you reduce it by 8, so you're playing it for 6. To play for 6, a 15k that pops something is really great. And if I was to choose anything and make some additional changes with this, Zeke Greymon might just be like the one you just put all of instead of like the Security Tank +1 is great off the Shoutmon Omni, and like the fact that you're able to use the effect to Digivolve on top of Shoutmon if you want to get some additional like going up your chains and stuff. But blocker just inherently is pretty good, and if your opponent digivolves you, which is unfortunately common, especially like Black War Greymon or like with Death X, which is such a big nasty counter for this deck that people are still playing, Z Greymon is actually a pretty good Digimon to kind of have as like your backup underneath your Cross 7. So anyways, I'm just saying a lot about how I think this deck is really cool. I think it's fine for what it is. It does have some hard counters, and unfortunately one of them is just Black War Greymon, which really stinks. And I think that's just a lot of decks right now. Like Black War Greymon is a really, really big hurdle to get over. It will probably be the gatekeeper, at least for this format, and some decks just simply can't get around it, which really stinks. But there's just like dozens of combos I could go over with this deck, but it's been really fun. These are the ratios I've been really liking. I could still tinker with it a little bit more if I wanted. The only thing is that you're kind of just stuck running the cards in the deck in that are part of the archetype. I did try with the single Sunrise Buster and the Trident Revolver, but it didn't feel super good. Like Sunrise Buster, you can only play the red and yellow ones, and only counts the red and yellow ones, and you're kind of needing to play the white one for some extension, so that kind of stinks. And then also Trident Revolver. This one I actually kind of liked more than Sunrise Buster, just because it can play any 4 or less tamer, so it could play the Zero or the triple tamer. The only issue is that it pops something 6 or less and then it plays it, which means that it doesn't get the synergy with Durulu, unfortunately, because it doesn't give the minus, but it's still an okay card. I still like playing it. And I just wish, like, if you could find some room for some tech and that you like and you like to run, it's very cool. The only thing is, like, this deck doesn't inherently draw cards. It mostly looks for cards that are named Xros Heart, which is really good if you need your cards that are named Xros Heart. But this deck is more it doesn't have like a lot of reaction to stuff happening. Mostly it's just kind of supposed to be the aggressive deck. You're able to go off with it, but there's not a lot of ways to kind of in archetype remove cards or do any kind of like board control outside of just playing the Shoutmon Cross 7 or just like the tiny Durulus or Star Sword pops that you get. But that's like the only thing I kind of miss, I feel like this deck is really missing at times, is a way to interact with our opponent, because we don't mind playing the slow game and long game because we get to really generate a lot of resources, and maybe that can just be a better way to play the deck in the future, but not today. So anyways, that is the list for me. I think, I don't know if I'd ever play Xros Heart. It's hard to say if I would have taken it to nationals earnestly, but I'm really tempted. I'm really tempted to. I've been having a lot of fun with it. So anyways, that is going to be my video for you guys today. Let me know if you guys want me to go over any other deck list or anything else for it. It should be a really cool event. I'm really looking forward to seeing what everyone brings to the event, and that's going to be it for me. So again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.
Damn it. Damn it.